the incredible Professor Pete, Dr. Peter Sibilio, in studio now with Bible Basics for a Life Fully Lived. Good morning, Professor Pete.
And this is where we take 5 to keep our faith alive, right?
Ooh, I like that, yes. Oh,
I think
let's retitle that. I like that.
Well, I think that that build-up you gave me, that was the humor for my section.
You've earned every nickel of it.
But as you know, I've had to do a little office cleaning lately, and so I love going over some student answers. And I came across one of my favorite about how other nations had lots of gods, but the Jews just had one big god named Yahoo.
You got some educating to do.
Yeah, that's true.
You do indeed.
That is true indeed. And then, of course, take mom and dad to lunch today. Of course, my dad is with the Lord in heaven, and every time I take my mom to lunch, the few times I have that pleasure, she always ends up getting 12 olives. That's all she eats. One for each martini. I don't know. Do they have the 12 martini lunch?
I guess so, because there's some nutritional value there, I suppose.
And then, of course, our ongoing joke is, of course, how we get Father Eric his own bishop-sized banner. Yeah. I doubt I'm even going to get to that today because we have so much humor and so much fun and joy, even in the mishaps of our family of faith. Remember last week, we saw again and again, first page in the New Testament, it shows how God brings salvation through people, but through families. And then when we look back, we find out that they tell us their story, warts and all, because we were looking at, finally, the birth of Joseph, Rachel's biological child, but it's kind of set in this air of Rachel's revenge, because remember, she and her sister had been in this sort of baby-making competition to see who can give Jacob or Israel the most sons, and that's where the 12 sons and the 12 tribes of Israel come from. And at first, of course, God is on Leah's side because she should have the status, but Rachel is just lording things over her. And so Leah, of course, becomes this baby-making machine. Well, your favorite line, dun, dun, dun. Rachel is barren until finally, right, we had that funny story with the mandrakes and Zebulun. Finally, after that, God says, all right, Rachel, you can have your own son, a biological child. But, rather than saying, I'm so happy, I think I will let my husband finally name one of the sons or naming him peace with my sister. She says, may God give me another, right? Or otherwise known as Joseph. And so we have to remember, right, these liminal moments of life and death and commitment and birth and naming, right? For them, that's going to be especially important. So I'll even say it in like a high feminine voice. May God give me another Joseph. And so after this, Jacob now really feels like, I've been here 7 years once, 7 years twice, and now it's almost another 7 years. I have the woman I love. I have a biological child. And unfortunately, he always treats Leah and the other children as if I got stuck with them. But he says, it's time for me to get going. And so he plays this little trick with sheep and goats on Laban, where he gets a lot of the sheep and the goats. And he says, all right, ladies, pack your bags. We're getting out of here. Meanwhile, though, Rachel, does this, and we're tuning right into Genesis 31 here. You can hear the pages of the Bible right here. When Laban had gone away to shear his sheep, and Rachel had meanwhile stolen her father's household idols, Jacob also tricked Laban by not telling him about his intended flight. Thus he made his escape with all he had, and once he crossed the Euphrates, he headed for the highlands of Gilead. Now, what's the deal with Rachel stealing these household idols?
Yeah.
Well, just above, she went to her sister, Rachel, always the cunning one, and she said, look, the guys here are back and forth with their free labor and wages and stuff. We never got a dowry. We're supposed to leave with some stuff, and these household idols, along with being a sort of jab at the Arameans, our cousins, and their idolatry, were often seen as property markers, almost like deeds and the family checkbook. And so when Laban gets back and he sees everybody's gone, and the household idols are gone, he takes out after Jacob in a fit of fury and catches up with Jacob. And Jacob says, what? You're the one who's constantly cheating me. Nobody took anything from you. And whoever, it says here, whoever took those household idols, let that person die. And so now we've got two things out there. May God give me another, and let that person die. Well, Laban says, I'm searching your entire camp. And he searched Jacob's tent, Leah's tent, the maidservants' tents. Here we are, right in the Bible here. But he didn't find the idols. Leaving Leah's tent, he went into Rachel's. Now, Rachel had taken the idols and put them inside a cushion and sat on them. When Laban rummaged through the rest of her tent without finding them, Rachel said to her father, let not my lord feel offended that I cannot rise in your presence. A woman's time of the month is upon me. And so Laban, like all men even today, never mind, okay. And Rachel sitting there, I got away with it, and I got the property markers. But what's out there? May God give me another, and let that person die. And wouldn't you know, Jacob and Laban say, all right, here we are in Gilead. As long as we have a common enemy, we're family. Otherwise, you stay on your side, and I'll stay on my side. And that is how they make this covenant. But wouldn't you know, who's coming along next? Esau, the brother of Jacob, whom Jacob had cheated.
Yeah.
And that's why Jacob ended up with Uncle Laban and his happy fun house in the first place. And so we've got Esau in front of us, and we've got those two things hanging over our heads. May God give me another, and let that person die. What's going to happen to our family of faith?
High drama.
Tune in next week for the exciting conclusion with our salvation and Jesus' own genealogy hanging in the balance, just as the weather is getting cooler and we approach Christmas and Advent. We got to get this solved.
Yeah. Man, this is edge of the seat stuff.
It is, and it's talk about hump day humor, too.
Yeah, wow. An amazing story. And thanks for bringing it to us.
Greatest story ever told.
Absolutely. Woo. Professor Peter Sebelio, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to send your questions for Bible Basics, too, because he loves answering those.
I love them. We got a whole bunch.
Thanks, Pete.
Have a wonderful week. Can't wait to be back.